my goodness. I'm so nervous right now. All right. Hello knockouts, TonyaTko here. I can't really smile. I'm having some dental problems right now. Let me tell you what's going on. I was really freaking out earlier, but I've calmed down and I'm going to ask you all for some advice. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on. I'm still in Buenos Aires. I've been making my plans to exit. And I've been thinking about this because I've been playing over and over in my mind. I'm like, my happiest day was the day I came in and the day I decided to leave Buenos Aires. So I'm like, I'm super excited. The hostel I'm staying at has free breakfast. So it's like a continental breakfast. So I go down, I'm super excited. I'm eating my continental breakfast. The world is on my shoulders. Well, I don't know how to put it, but I was happy. I was geeked. Okay. So I'm eating breakfast and I feel like this sharp pain go up inside my gum. And I'm like, maybe it's just a piece of this crusty bread. Listen to how hard this is. Do you hear that? No crumbs are even falling. So I start feeling around with my tongue up in the roof and the bread moves, but then so does my tooth. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I'm like feeling around, my tooth is split all the way up to the gums. And so I feel like soft gum meat up in there. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like freaking out. I have to leave the breakfast area and I have to come back up to the room. And I'm dizzy because, you know, it's like when your body is like not functioning properly, you go dizzy out your mind. So I'm like, I go to lay down and I'm like, this gotta be a bad dream. Cause I'm like, I know my tooth did not split all the way up to the gums while I'm out here in Buenos Aires, so far from home. All right. So I wake up. I was having these bad nightmares. I kept having these nightmares that my tooth was dislodging into my throat and it was like choking me as I was trying to sleep. I wake up, the problem still persists. So I'm like trying to feel around, trying to see what's going on up there. And my tooth is like loose, but it's like holding on inside the gums. And it's like, thank God it's not hurting. For anybody out there who's ever had any tooth pain, take a piece of garlic, cut it down the long way, and then put that up on the roof of your mouth or on the outside along, not on the outside of your face, but inside along your gum, and you let it stay there and that'll take away your toothache. It'll disinfect the area. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. Now I got a split tooth, split all the way up to the gums, and I'm all the way out here in Buenos Aires. And I'm like, I'm tripping because I'm like, oh my God, you know, Buenos Aires is super expensive. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I started asking the people in the reception if dental care is expensive out here. And he's like, oh my gosh, yes, it's so expensive. Just the consultation alone is $200. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's awful, because in New York, consultation is $150. So I'm like, wow, it's $200 out here. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then he says pesos. And I'm like, in my Scooby-Doo voice, I'm like, pesos? I'm like, wait a minute, did you just say pesos? 200 pesos? I'm like, that's like $16. And so he's like, yeah, but for us, that's expensive. He said he didn't know any dentist places in the area. He told me to look on the internet. And the very first thing up at the top, because I did like a search for tooth extraction, Buenos Aires. The very first place, I opened it up, $190 for a tooth extraction, $890 for a crown. I'm like, wow, you know what? That's really not that bad. And then I look down at the bottom and it says all prices are in pesos. And I'm like, rewind Maya. What? 190 pesos for a tooth extraction? You know how much this costs in New York? It's at minimum $330. Remember when I went to that dentist last year and the dentist was like, oh, it's going to cost $3,000 to extract my tooth? And I was like, for $3,000. I was like, I'll buy a car for $3,000, tie a string around the doorknob, and then slam that sucker in and have the tooth pull out that way. $3,000 for a tooth? Really? So I was like, I was super depressed, and I was super not liking Buenos Aires until I saw these dentist prices. Why is dental work so expensive in the United States? A crown is like $3 grand. And more. When I went to the dentist down in Manhattan, she told me it was going to cost $10,000 to fix my mouth. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? This is a very expensive head. So now, all of a sudden, I'm excited about Buenos Aires. I was walking around outside, and it was like a whole new day. I was super, super, super happy. Wow, this is manageable. I could get so much done. And they have public health care out here, so the person at the front desk was telling me that the public hospitals are even better than the private ones because the government is paying for the public ones, so they need to make sure that they have it good for the people. In the United States, the public hospitals are the worst. You get the worst care, the worst treatment. It's like I can get the care that I need without going broke in the process, so I'm super geeked. As a quick follow-up, I did contact that dentist that had the really great pricing, and in typical Buenos Aires style, there was a completely different pricing once I called up. I don't know if it's because I speak Spanish with an American accent, but they gave me a different price over the phone, which is not bad by American standards, but it's a lot more than was advertised. It was like the tooth extraction went from like $190 to like $800, and the crown went from like $895 to like $3,000. That's pesos. So you can do the math conversion on that, because each dollar is about 8.9 pesos official rate and 12.5 pesos the unofficial and illegal rate. So nonetheless, my question is, have you ever gotten dental work done outside of the United States? What was that like? Are the facilities comparable? What about the care? Should I get something like that done outside of the country? I'm a little bit nervous myself. So I wanted to ask you all for your advice. So please follow up with me and tune in next Wednesday. I'm actually going to be uploading a lot more videos, so make sure you're on my mailing list, TonyaTko.com. Remember, I'm out here writing books. I'm outside of the country writing books, Lessons of a Motherless Child, Dating Don'ts, and also the Self-Love and Healing workbook. So give me a hug, love you so much. Go out there and love one another. Most importantly, love yourself. TonyaTko, and I'm out. Peace. Last night was one of the worst nights of my life traveling. Okay, look. How do I get down? Okay. This is the way the property looks.